Hi, everyone. Connie Myers here with the Crisis Knowledge Management Preparedness Foundation. And I have with me one of the most amazing board of directors members that I could possibly have. Cami, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, Connie. And this recording, this presentation is coming at a beautiful time because there is a story. There's a case study to share. And I'm just going to jump on in and share with all of you what is charitable gifting of real estate? Why should you care? How can we help Connie's nonprofit? And heck, why don't we help them all while we're at it? So I'm going to share my screen. Here is the case study.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So this building was donated last week to the Scott Dawson Evangelistic Association. Now, this is a 200,000 square foot building. And I just want to say, don't we all know this building in our marketplace? Haven't we all passed by an office park, a business development complex, an industrial area? These buildings are vacant all over the country, and this is no exception. This one has been vacant for 4 years, but you never would have known it driving by because they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in upkeep, lawn care, electricity, taxes, insurance, etc. This building is actually being used by this specific nonprofit because they needed a training center. But we know Connie doesn't necessarily need any big buildings to manage and maintain. If this had been donated on behalf of her, we would have liquidated it and given her the millions of dollars to buy lots and lots and lots of kits for kids and all the other wonderful things that CKM can and will be doing. So friends, let's jump right in and talk about how can we find buildings like that, large or small, big or, out in the country or in the cities. These properties are giving people tax deductions and giving nonprofits the ability to get funded, and they are paying real estate agents a full commission to list these things. Now, this is another example. Mackenzie Scott donated these two houses just last year, totaling $55 million. And I love to show that this isn't about vacant property out in the middle of nowhere with tumbleweeds going through the parking lot, but we also want you to know there are stories of people who are donating $25 a year for 32 years. They saw a presentation like this and they learned they could donate, and they had a second home in the Poconos. They had a condo in Florida. They had a vacant lot that they never built on. So just know it can be any kind of property. And look, here's the deal. We are the Rock Revolution because they are all worthy causes. We love that CKM is collaborative. I sit on the board. We know that we want to help all nonprofits. We're starting right here. But every one of these veterans, animals, children, churches, universities, 1.5 million in this country, they are all worthy causes. And that's why this is a revolution to teach people how this works. Now, these are just some statistics around the difference between fundraisers and getting funded. So the average bake sale brings in $600. Average gift of real estate brings in $600,000. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason to take a look at having real estate fund this nonprofit. We talk about how this is kind of like building a pipeline. The fundraisers are like going to the well and getting a bucket of water or a bucket of funds at one time when we're thirsty. But we got to keep going back and getting another bucket and getting another bucket. Whereas with charitable gifting of real estate, because 43% of our wealth is held in real estate, and people will plan this for this year, next year, 3 years, 10 years from now, friends, this is about creating a pipeline of never-ending funding. Now, my name is Cami C.E. Baker. I was a real estate agent for 15 years. I did a lot of fundraising back in the day. for Ronald McDonald, Make-A-Wish, local nonprofits, national, global ones. And when I learned about charitable gifting of real estate 4 years ago, I thought, holy cow, what a great way for realtors to have a unique sales proposition so that they could stand out in their marketplace and have a niche that their competition isn't even aware of. And so that's what we got started with. We created a certification. The Certified Charitable Real Estate Specialist is the only designation in this country around charitable gifting of real estate. And now I am traveling the country in my RV, 5-foot image of the book. The next thing after the certification was the book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. We want to encourage you to get a free digital download with an audio of that book. We also have something called List a Legacy Listing Month, which is in April. It's kind of a public service awareness, if you will. And right at the time of this recording, in November, Giving Tuesday is coming up. And what we want to say is, let's give people a choice. Let's give them a choice as to how they want to give to this nonprofit, to any nonprofit. And let's give those donors the ability to choose between the pocket change cash that they have and their appreciated assets, which is so much smarter for them. So our organization was written up in Yahoo Finance. This is a revolutionary way for nonprofits, realtors, property owners, financial advisors, business owners of all kind to come together with the nonprofits in their community. We actually had a story written about us when we did the book launch, and Goodwill actually saw this story and reached out to us directly and said, hey, we've got 200 smaller nonprofits that are always needing a grant from us. Can you teach them how to do it? And of course, we said we would love to. So if you'd like to get a copy of the book, we will put in the caption or wherever the way to get the digital download. Our website is therock.com. Now notice how we spell that. RAOC stands for Real Agent of Change. Therock.com. Cami Baker is where you can get that digital download of the book if you'd like. Now let's jump on into what is this thing? What would your nonprofit, as a matter of fact, Connie, give us the 30-second rendition. What would CKM do with $600,000 cash infusion?
We would buy 30,000 Go kits and be able to fund the other marketing and things that we need to do. It is an incredible amount of money that could make so many lives better and protect our kids and make families have peace of mind when their kids are not around them. That's what we could do with that money.
Boy, I tell you, and that's also just simply priming the pump. It's simply a way to get the name of CKM out into the schools. We're actually looking for kids that can be the spokes kids for Kits for Kids. So 600,000. Why that number? Because, friends, that is the average from one gift of real estate. Now, I've just shown you a couple of examples, just two, that created millions of dollars. And I spoke about the one that we know of that was $25 a month. Shoot, that donation was only $39,000, but that would be enough to even launch the Kits for Kids program. So this is the average amount of equity that comes in from a piece of real estate. That's not the list price. If you're a realtor and you're watching this, it could be a property that's worth millions of dollars that you're getting a full commission on. Now, these numbers that we're sharing are the amount of nonprofits per state. 300,000 nonprofits in California. There's 168,000 nonprofits in Florida. Ever since we did this slide, it's gone up by 8,000. Texas has 200,000. Friends, the point is they are everywhere. You know them. You love them. You're volunteering, you're giving at a GoFundMe account, and we just want you to know we want to help them all. This is another example. I love seeing these houses of people. This is a writer downer. These are people that are cash conservative, asset abundant, cash conservative, asset abundant. Doesn't mean they're multi-million billionaires. It just means that they are people who have assets that we may or may not know about that they would donate when they find out that they can. Now, charitable gifting of real estate got started in 1917 when the US government gave us the ability to get a tax deduction on just about anything that we donate, from cash to real estate to business ownership to racehorses and now Bitcoin. So it's been around for over 100 years. 9 billion. That's right. We said billion with a B. $9 billion a year is donated to nonprofits from gifts of real estate at an average of $600,000 per donation. And there are $5,000, $10,000 vacant lots that could be donated to. Friends, it adds up a lot faster when we are dipping into the largest asset class in this country. Cash is only 3% of whether someone makes 20,000 or 20 million a year, 3% on average is what they have access to in cash. But 43% of wealth is in real estate. And that is why this is the best way to fund any nonprofit above and beyond grants. And I'd go toe to toe with anybody to explain and discuss why that is. So real estate is hot. Fundraising, it's not. Doesn't mean we don't do it. Doesn't mean we don't still do the galas and bake sales and ballroom functions and car shows and golf tournaments. It just means that while we're doing those, why not let people know we can also benefit from real estate? People don't know what they don't know. So you might be asking yourself, okay, great. So if all this is true and it's been around for 100 years and $9 billion a year, then why have I never heard of it? Why aren't realtors being taught this? I'm asked all the time, why is the Board of Realtors not teaching this? And that's a great question. And why are nonprofits still struggling when there is so much abundance available? Well, in order to answer this question, I'm going to give you the bird's eye overview of 3 ways that real estate can fund nonprofits, 3 ways that the property owner can make that funding available to the nonprofit world. Now, we're not getting into the details of charitable remainder trust and donor advised funds and all that stuff. This is about step 1. How does it come into play? So the first choice that a donor has is go sell the property yourself. Just go sell it, just good old fashioned, however, with a realtor, for sale by owner, whatever. Go sell it, pay your taxes, and give the nonprofit world the proceeds at the end, the check. And the reason why this is the worst way for any nonprofit is because the government's going to get a bigger piece than they should, whether it's capital gains, recapture tax, money that the donor is giving because of their adjusted gross income. See, the appraised value could have been written off of their adjusted gross income, but in this scenario, not so much. So when the government gets more money, that means that the donor is getting the least tax advantages, and that means that the nonprofit is getting the least amount of money. It is frankly just what people do when they don't know any better. And people used to ask us all the time before, well, why don't they just sell it and give the proceeds? But now that we have this as part of our presentation, we don't get that question anymore, because it is clear that this is the worst way to do it. Now, the second way is if that donor gave the deed to the property, or donated or bargain saled, which we go over in the master class. You're more than welcome to come and learn about that. If they were trying to donate it directly, let's say to CKM. Now, CKM is right out of Vegas. Of course, we are helping people become prepared all over the country, but they're out of Vegas. So let's say that the donor lives in Texas and they own a condo in Florida. And that donor says, you know what, Connie, I love you. I've got this condo. It's valued at $1 million. I've got a $200,000 mortgage on it, and I'd like to put $200,000 cash in my pocket, but that other $600,000 in equity, give or take expenses, love for you to have it. Here, let me give it right to you. Well, here's the problem with the donor giving it directly to the nonprofit that they want to benefit. The problem is that mortgage has got to be paid off. The cash needs to be given to the donor in order for that property to be actually title exchange hands with the nonprofit. Connie's got to take title to that property. That means all that stuff's got to get done. She would be responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep and the taxes and just all the holding costs and the whole deal. And what if that donor says at the last minute, hey, you know, we got that closing coming up. I've been thinking and praying about it. I'd like to give part of it to my church and part of it to the veterans group. Well, now we're going to be granting money or not doing it and looking bad. The fact of the matter is CKM, as well as 99.9% of all other nonprofits, don't have the time, talent, or treasure. And let me just say, this board has more talent on it than I would venture to say any board in this country, because not only is the author of the book about this topic on the board, but we've got real estate company owners. We've got presidents of boards of real estate right here, boards of realtors right here on this board. And even with all that talent, I would never suggest that we come out of pocket for all these expenses and the risks and the overwhelming what ifs. No. See, this is the hardest way to do it. And what we know to be a fact is 99.9% of nonprofits flat out will not do it. No way, no how. And that is why the Real Agents of Change were born. That is why these legacy listings, as we call them, because every donation of real estate, in order to pull the equity out, we need to list it with a realtor to sell it. It's a legacy listing. It leaves legacy for the nonprofit by hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. It leaves legacy for the donor who wants to give more, but they are cash conservative and asset abundant. And it leaves legacy for the professionals that are part of what we're doing here. Think about the marketing for the market that you're in. When you are the one who's handing a check for 500, 800,000, $1 million, 5 million, shoot, 20,000 from a piece of real estate to a nonprofit. Friends, that's called legacy. Now, donors are a big fat, absolutely, please, hell yes. What do we mean by that? Well, this isn't about convincing people to donate real estate or, bullying them into it. For the right people, this is a yes. It makes good tax decision. Their CPA, their attorney, when they look at everything that is part and play, they are a yes. And whether they're doing it because they're altruistic and they're in their 70s and 80s and they want to get into heaven and they love animals and veterans and want to keep people safer, or whether they are just flat out tax savvy and wanting to help their estate planning. Either way, the donors are a yes. And here's what those donors need to know. The real estate that they donate can come from anywhere in the country, some cases anywhere in the world. So it does not matter where the nonprofit is, where the donor lives, or what nonprofit is being benefited. It can come from anywhere. It can be any type. Now, we've just shown you huge primary residence. We've just shown you a huge office complex. It can be raw land. It can be a hospital. It can be storage units. It can be a 3-family, a condo. Doesn't matter. Any kind of real estate for any nonprofit. Even those nonprofits who've told you they don't take real estate, or even the ones that you talk to after you watch this video who say, we don't do it, We used to do it. It's too complicated. It's too risky. No way, no how. It's written in our bylaws. That's okay, because they're not taking the real estate anyway. They're just going to get a check. They're just going to get the proceeds. Now, you've heard me say 99.9% don't. Well, there's 1.5 million nonprofits in this country. So there is a half of a percent that do. And these are just some examples of those that we have come across that do. And the reason that we're sharing them with you is we know, we hope that if this strikes your fancy at all, that you're going to do your own due diligence, do a little bit of Googling and searching. And the fact is, these are going to come up. And the fact is, if a donor wants a tax deduction, any of these are wonderful. Here's where the crux to the matter is, though. If you want Connie to get the money and you donate to the Nature Conservancy or San Diego Foundation or Helping Hands of America, you're not choosing Connie's nonprofit. You're going to have money going to other nonprofits that are all worthy in their own way, but you're not choosing who gets your legacy. You as a real estate agent cannot be the one guaranteed to list the property or get a referral fee for bringing it to the table. So it's happening. This is just a handful. And every 30 days or so, when I Google, there's more. And actually, it's on the CKM website. And we'll show you that later on too. So here's some of the very many reasons why the nonprofits are saying no. Friends, this is so complicated. You know, to really take title and to have the board of any nonprofit have to agree to it and come together and change their laws and what have you. It's just so complicated. It is so risky. Boards don't want to look bad. They don't want to make the bad decision. They don't want to get fired for taking on a property that's contaminated or whatever. The risk is just so high. They have it written so often in their gift acceptance policies that they only take cash, or they only take real estate if it's local, vacant, and mortgage free. And frankly, that's just limiting them to a handful instead of a worldwide ability. And the reason that CKM and others that I personally strategize with around this don't take real estate is because we don't want to come out of pocket. I don't want to pay off a mortgage. I don't want to put my name on an electricity bill on a ranch in Texas. Friends, you don't have to have any of this risk the way that the real agents of change do this. Because at long last, I'm going to share with you the third way. Because if we don't want the donor to sell it themselves and then give a check, because that's the worst way. And if we don't want them to give it directly to the nonprofit that's going to benefit, because that's the hardest way, what is the win-win-win way? Well, first, let us say that the donors, once again, are a win because they do not pay capital gains on that which they donate. This is a way to write off the full appraised value as the basis for their tax deduction. They are wanting to leave legacy, and when they can give from their 43% of wealth and their bucket of wealth as opposed to their pocket change, this is a win for them. And for those who want to leave legacy, look, their kids do not want a strip mall in Detroit. They don't want that auto dealership in Chicago. They want some cash, and we show them how to pull cash out, buy a life insurance policy. Kids are fine. They want to leave legacy to those they care about. Now, the nonprofits are a win because they can 6 times the growth of their endowments. Dr. Russell James has done the research. He wrote the foreword for our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. And this is a proven statistic, proven over and over, including what Jackie Franey says at the Nature Conservancy. They've been taking real estate for decades, and they know that the same donors on the donor list that are given $25 a month or $25 a year, they will give 3 to 7 times more when they can give from their assets, their appreciated assets. And Matt over at the University of Oregon loves there's no extra donors needed. Now, CKM is just getting started. So even though we don't have a donor list of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people yet, the people that are on our board and in our social media and wanting to help, and the realtors that are coming to the table to learn how this works, friends, all of us have friends and family and fans and followers that could donate real estate for this nonprofit or any other. We just have to tell them. All we got to do is educate them. And it is a win-win-win for you, real estate agent, because not only do you get a full commission, and we say that because we want you to know, just because people are giving real estate away and just because the money's going to a nonprofit does not mean we want you to discount your commission. We're not asking for 10%. We don't want you to make a donation. We want you to get paid what you're worth to give the nonprofit hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you can attract 87% of your marketplace. We are certainly not suggesting that you're going to get 100 listings of donated real estate this year, but we know you're not going to get any if you don't tell people. And we know that there are people in your marketplace. This has been proven time and time again that people will hire you because they know you're doing this, because this is the biggest, baddest, boldest social responsibility campaign ever. And people want to work with those that are doing good work. So let's make money and make a difference together. These are the reasons why this is a win-win-win for everyone. So here's how it works. The third option, the Real Agents of Change have put together experts who can take title to this property. They are a 501c3, which gives the donor the tax deduction they're looking for. They can do all of this, making it risk-free for CKM, for your church, for any nonprofit. And people will ask me after seeing this presentation, what nonprofits are you talking about? All of them, any of them. So this is risk-free. There is no money out of pocket to have these donations facilitated. There is plenty of money by the backers of these organizations to pay off mortgages, for holding costs, to give the donor cash if they want. The property does not need to be free and clear. Notice that in our example, the donor has $1 million condo with a $200,000 mortgage, not free and clear, and the donor wanted $200,000 back in her pocket. Doesn't have to donate the full amount. So the donor receives the full array of tax benefits immediately. The nonprofit world gets the maximum deduction and gets the maximum donation, and all 100%, every nonprofit in this country qualifies to be eligible for this program. That's why this is the win-win-win that it is. Now, this is another example of multi-million-dollar donation. I need to throw some in here that are a little more next door so that you know that it doesn't have to be. People will say, well, I don't know anybody that would do that. I don't know anybody that's uber wealthy. Friends, you don't have to know anybody that's uber wealthy. If you know anyone who is altruistic, who is heart-centered, and or needs a tax deduction and is business savvy, they deserve for you to tell them. So you can be the go-to, that specialist that we're talking about. You can get certified so that all of the nonprofits in your marketplace, all of the high net worth clients, all of the people that own multiple properties nationwide, all of these people, whether they're in your marketplace or someplace that you can refer out to, they deserve to know how this works, and they will pay you. You will be rewarded financially for having a niche that all these people will respect and honor and refer you because you're the one that knows how to do it. When you're a community leader, actually Connie has been teaching community leadership and many other aspects in real estate and for professionals for many years. She's actually throwing in, because we're going to give you a special offer today that will also include her community leader program as a free bonus. But you can be seen and respected as socially responsible. That 87% of consumers, they're hiring over the competition, and you're making a real difference in the world. Any of you can work with dozens, hundreds of people in each of these industries, because they can be experts too. CPAs and financial advisors know that this is a good tax deduction. They just don't know how to do it the way we do it, that makes it risk-free and easy for everyone involved. Now, what about the staff and the board members and the volunteers and the social media and the regular media and the PR and the email lists of all the people that work at these nonprofits and support these nonprofits? See, they all need realtors and CPAs and financial advisors. They all need to buy cars and jewelry and whatever it is that you sell, insurance. When these companies are part of a cause marketing campaign, they are able to attract those people too. And of course, all of these folks are going to want to work with you because you're the one that's helping to bring hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to the community. You can be the only realtor, CPA, etc., that is helping property owners to give smarter. Imagine when you're at a networking event or on a Zoom with a bunch of other people that are in the industry you're in, and you can say, well, gosh, I help people give smarter. What do you do? Helping any and all nonprofits to facilitate these gifts, helping the community. That's what this is all about. So be the solution that the companies, the communities, your career, the causes, that we all need you desperately to step up to be the solution. One last example, or maybe a couple more, $1.7 million to the Martin Luther King Center a couple years ago in New England. Now let's talk about Berkeley, and this will be the last one. So this is exactly how it works. In December of 21, gentleman had 12 lots of land. Only 21 days left in that year, and he needed a tax deduction. The way that we do this, the donor can get a tax deduction immediately, and he did. But then when the property sold, the money went to Berkeley Humane Society. In April of 22, they got a check for over $400,000. At 50 years of being in business, being around, they had never received money like that from a donation of real estate. They were flabbergasted and said, can we get more? Yes, you can. They reached out. Friends, here's what the conversation looks like. It is this simple. Hey, Mary, thank you so much for your $25 donation at the last bake sale. Every puppy, we need every dollar to help these puppies. So we just want to thank you for that. And we want to let you know that we have recently learned nonprofits like ours can benefit from gifts of real estate, of all things. Now, it may be your real estate. It may be somebody you know. It may be somebody you don't even know. But what we're doing is we're just spreading the word and letting people know that we can benefit from real estate. You'll see some stuff in our social media. If you can share a link or something, that would be great. Well, in those phone calls, they found a second donation. A woman who had been left a gift from her mother in a 55 and older community. She didn't want it. She was never going to live in it. She was fine financially. She donated it. They got another $600,000. Friends, this is not pie in the sky. This isn't pro forma. This isn't, we think this is how it's going to work. This is exactly what happened for this nonprofit. So one nonprofit, 2 donations in a 6-month period, over $1 million. Now, if you go to their website now, you'll see a really fancy page about real estate, but they did not have that. They didn't have that fancy page that CKM has until they had already got these 2 donations. So certified charitable real estate specialist, here's what this looks like. We have something called a master class, charitable real estate master class. When you are part of our community, you can come to it as much as you want. We want you to bring 2 VIP guests for free, because you'll want your title company or your minister or your mom, the realtor, or your best friend, the property owner, to know about this. Certification is a 12-month thing. There is an annual renewal for $97 at the end of the 12 months. You will be promoted on our website. There are all kinds of stuff in the back office. You get the recording. Now, we do the masterclass lab live at least once a month on Zoom. It's the third Tuesday of the month. You can see it on the schedule, but you also get the recording, so you can watch it anytime. There's a master workbook. You do the certification exam. You'll be licensed and designated to use all of the logos and things that you need to let people know that you're a CCRES. Lots of resource links, case studies, and Q&A, and everything you could ever need to help people understand how this works. This is what your certificate looks like. We encourage you to put it on your website, social media, send it to people. Be loud and proud. You are the only certified charitable real estate specialist in your marketplace, but you won't be for long, because by 2025, we will have certified charitable real estate specialists in every city of this country. This is what our national database, we're putting people on the map as we speak. Now, here's the special that we've got going on. The charitable real estate specialist is $400. It is what it is. You get the 2 VIP tickets. You get the recording of the master class. You can come as much as you want. Unlimited email with myself, Dr. Russell James, Jim Wooten, other people that are experts that I can go to and get any question answered for you. Now, because we are partnering with CKM, instead of giving you a discount, we are giving them a $200 donation on behalf of you. So not only are you able to double, triple, 10 times your profitability, no joke. When people in your community see that you're doing this, holy cow, are they going to want to work with you? So not only are you getting the ability to do something big with a niche that your competition doesn't even know about, but while you're doing it, you're also helping CKM, and you're also able to help any other nonprofit that you love. And Connie has a $400 program that you're getting for free. So you can go back and watch the recording of this, put this on pause, scan that barcode. You can go right to the landing page. Connie, on that note, I am going to let you tell about your leadership class, etc. And I'm actually, if you want to start chitty chatting, I'm going to pull up your website and show them what it looks like to have this on your website.
Thank you, Cami. That was a great presentation. I have to tell you, so I am a firm believer that the best way, I don't care what kind of business you're in, whether you're a financial advisor, whether you are a CPA, an attorney, a realtor, an insurance person, or you own a hair salon in your community. It's been proven, there's statistics out there that show that 87% of consumers will choose one organization over another based upon what their social causes are about, what their corporate social responsibility ranking is. And because of that, this is going to help you no matter what business you're in. There's a couple things that she was talking about that I want to highlight. One of them is that if you are a donor, she said a very important thing. The tax deduction you get is not just the capital gains. It's based upon what the basis of your property appraisal value is. So that means that you can get deductions on the commissions that are paid or all of that, because that's all included in that basis. The other thing I want to say is I was working with Cami for probably half a year, maybe a year, when it dawned on me, we're getting ready to do some kind of an event like this, and it dawned on me, oh my God, I've been a part of this. I've been a part of the charitable giving of real estate. You see, I was born and raised on a farm in Nebraska. We did not have a lot of money. It was every year was a difficult time because of the crops and the cattle and everything that went on. However, after my mother passed away, I have twin sisters, and the three of us gave the property, that our share of the value of the property, to my brother, because he had been the one managing the farm for the last many years. And at the time, we didn't get a lot of money for it, but that was quite a few years ago. And about 5 years ago, he decided to donate the farm to the hospital that we had all been born in, and our grandmother had been the baker. So what he did it the hardest way, and he did it the worst way. He actioned off the property, and that took a lot of work and the cost of it, right? He donated the property, or the value of the property, after it was auctioned off. So he did not get all the big tax deductions. He did not get the donation was not as big as it could have been. And because of that, it was actually $2.46 million. Now, I can tell you, I think each of us girls got like 27,000 or something, because that's what it was worth at the time. But the bottom line is, this hospital, it was the largest donation ever made to a hospital in the state of Nebraska. I can tell you that I hadn't even thought about it, but there's people out there that have these kinds of situations that can benefit. And you, as the real estate agent, or you as the financial planner, or you as the insurance person, or you that owns the hair salon, if you're talking to people and you just happen to bring up the fact that, I've heard about this thing, I've become a specialist, and I understand now how much benefit there is. And you know what? I love my puppies, so I want to do something for the Humane Society. I love the idea of protecting our kids, which is what CCAM is all about. I love the idea of the veterans. And I'm trying to help them find a way of getting a charitable giving of real estate. So if you happen to know of anybody that might have a vacant lot, or they have a mansion, it doesn't really matter what, this is an ideal way. I firmly believe that no matter who you are, if you become a community leader, which is the training that I do, the way you become a community leader is to really understand how to take all these things to your community. And who's going to win? Whoever you're working with is going to win. You're going to win, because 87% of people choose one organization over another based upon what their causes are. So you're going to stand out. You're going to be mingling with other leaders in the community. What is that going to do for your business? How many more haircuts can you give, or how many more hair colorings can you do? Or how much more insurance can you write? Or how many more real estate transactions can you do if you become that community leader? And my training, I teach you about how to do all of that. So anybody that's watching this, I really want to, first of all, thank you for thinking about becoming the charitable giving real estate specialist, because it is an amazing program. I've known Cami now for about 2 years, and I can tell you that what I have seen her transform people, and how she's doing it, she does it completely from her heart. Does she want to make money? Absolutely. We all have to make money. But the bottom line is, she's doing it all for the right reasons, which is why being a community leader is so important, doing it from the right reasons. And what a gift this can be. So the training that I have is usually $400. I'm throwing it in. So that $200 gets you everything she just talked about, in addition to my community leadership training and my book, which is called When the Unthinkable Happens, Be Prepared, Be Ready, where we talk about sustainability, what to do if there's a disaster or a life crisis. It applies to everything. You get all that for the $400. So please join us. We're going to be doing a training. We'll be posting those dates in the page with the video. We have several dates coming up. And Cami, thank you for everything that you've done, and thank you for everything that you continue to do to bring this to light, because we need to take that $9 billion, and I forget the number. I think you said 29 billion or something like that is what you want to take it to. We need to make that happen, because think about all the nonprofits that are out there that can use our help. And believe you me, I'm one of those. There's no way I could take a piece of real estate and do anything with it. There's no way. There's not the money to do it. And I'm taking money away from what I want, my passion, my mission to help protect kids. So thank you for everything, Cami, and I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Well, there you have it, friends. Connie and I are grateful that you wanted to stop by and see what this is all about. And we'll see you in the master class and in the leadership program soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.